And I think in the second month of us working together, if I remember correctly, you hit 25K.
Yes,
Your last month, March, was what?
almost 18,000. So 17,800.
And I think you said that was really the easiest money you ever made, right?
Easiest. I did nothing to get clients. I literally did nothing.
What was business like? What was life like before we started working together? And then what happened in terms of the shift and in terms of the numbers?
Business was incredibly stressful and life was really non-existent. I felt like I had no purpose outside of making money. I never felt good. I was always stressed, always looking for the next client. Where are they going to come from? Always freaking out about money.
We are here with my amazing client, Jessica McKay. I am very, very excited to share her story with you guys and her amazing journey. The bumps, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, and the very powerful and interesting breakthrough that you had on many, many different levels. Beautiful. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time for this conversation.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Beautiful. So let's address the mind first, and we'll dive into how all of that happened, right? Tell us a bit about what was business like, what was life like before we started working together, and then what happened in terms of the shift and in terms of the numbers.
So, business was incredibly stressful and life was really non existent. All I did was work
Yeah.
and strive, and I lived for it. I felt like I had no purpose outside of making money. I never felt good. I was always stressed,
Yeah.
always looking for the next client. Where are they going to come from? Always freaking out about money, even though I was making money. The money wasn't bad. I always had money coming in,
Yeah.
but I wanted more. And I kept looking for that magic bullet that was going to get me to some mythical Shangri-La where
Yeah.
I didn't have to be stressed out anymore. And
Beautiful.
so, yeah, so the money was okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's get specific. Like, what was your average like on a monthly basis before we started?
So I was making like 11,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been
Mm-hmm.
my average.
Right.
Some months were higher than that. Some months were a little bit lower than that, but
Right.
mostly it was about 11, 12,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think in the second month of us working together, if I remember correctly, you hit 25K.
Yes. Hmm.
And you're like, how the fuck is this happening? It's just like sales one after the other.
Yeah. And I mean, I had had numbers like that before kind of sporadically.
Yeah.
This was different because we had worked on my confidence and I was feeling like such a badass that it was like the easiest 25K month I ever had.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. And now you said your last month, March, was what?
Almost 18,000. So 17,800.
And I think you said that was really the easiest money you ever made, right?
Easiest. I did nothing to get clients. I literally did nothing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And the people watching right now are like, what do you mean you're doing nothing? What the hell what kind of voodoo are you using, Jessica?
So what I was able to do was finally let go of the hustle
Yeah.
and pushing and pursuing and praying for clients. I just let that was what was causing most of the stress. And what had to happen in order for me to get there was what you witnessed, which was that as soon as I hit that really high confidence and I had that big month, everything just went downhill. I lost a ton of clients and I didn't know how I was going to um, survive.
Yeah.
And what happened was that I was fine. The bills
Mm-hmm.
got paid. Nothing bad happened. I didn't die. And so it completely took the fear away of what's going to happen if I don't make money. It just put me in a much more calm place, and the peace of mind that I hadn't experienced all the whole year previous, where I was making good money, but I was never at peace. I finally had a sense of peace. And I think it was also, I needed a break from doing so much.
Yeah.
But you were trying to tell me the whole time we were working together, you were always trying to tell me to let go of pushing. And I had such trouble with that. I was really clinging on to the idea that I was going to be wealthy and have a certain amount of money, because my whole identity, my whole idea of what life would be like
Yeah.
hinged on that. And once that was gone, I mean, the money comes and there's no stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. And we didn't mention, right? You're like professionally speaking, you're a copywriter, but you're also a very powerful, intuitive business coach. That's how I see it, how I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also doing psychic readings for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you now? Like the people that, your clients that came to you in March.
Mm-hmm.
For, for which version of Jessica did they come for?
The intuitive coaching. So I'm so happy because I'm slowly letting go of all the done for you copywriting services. And the people that are coming are the people that want my help to do it with them.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's
I,
easy for me, it's
I, I
empowering for them.
I wish that everyone listening to the audio version of this conversation saw my face right now. I'm smiling from ear to ear. Like my heart is just like filled up with joy for you, right? Because we've been talking about this transition for months now, and it's the power, the badassery that I saw inside of you from the beginning. And I'm so happy you decided to embrace this.
Yeah, I really am so grateful for you because you were saying that. And I was so scared to let go of the copywriter because that was the bread and butter. That's what had brought me the wealth all
Yeah.
of last year. And the thought of letting that go and then becoming a coach and everything that I had associated with coaches was very scary to me.
Yes. Yes. And it is incredibly difficult. I mean, if something works and it's very much in the material, the physical, the matter aspect of life, and it's giving you money, it's extremely scary to let that go for something that's more, let's say, intangible, but is so much more you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
understanding that like you're making the intangible tangible, which is kind of life in many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Takes a lot of courage.
It
And
does. It does. And so it was like after I had what I needed was the hardship that happened
yes,
where I lost clients and then I got sick. I got COVID and I was so sick I couldn't work for close to a month. And
yes,
like I said, nothing bad happened. The world didn't end. And then when I started coming back from that, coming back to myself, I could no longer do life the way I had been doing it,
yeah.
insisting on holding on to the hustle and there's nothing more stressful than done for you
Hmm.
services.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
it's the mindset, but
Yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends on who you are, right? For some people, it's extremely easy and they would just do that the whole day. But the
mm-hmm.
question is like, is it really filling you up with energy or is it draining you of energy, right? Um, when I read the surrender experiment, I really understood that like everything, literally everything that happens for you. And when you were going through that period of trial of, because for people tuning in, Jessica was bedridden with COVID. You couldn't even get out of bed, let alone do
Mhm.
any work, right? And yet clients were still coming.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was able to do the bare minimum to just keep my coaching clients
Hmm.
going, and the bare minimum on the copywriting. And the funny thing is that you were telling me for so long to surrender,
Yeah.
and it was just too scary, and I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. But
I mean, I admit I had some moments of doubt of saying, "Oh my God, what's happening? Is she going to be fine? Is she going to be okay?" But like overall, the feeling was, this is exactly what needs to happen because fire, purifies or burns away all of the impurities. And it was a trial by fire. The life, I think, was really showing you. It's not about, it's not necessarily about what you're doing. It's really about who you're being, and you were being rewarded for who you are, not necessarily for what you were doing, which is kind of the goal of manifestation and of business, right?
mm,
And I remember after you were coming out of that, you reached and we were talking about that in the call, you reached a point where every single entrepreneur is like that point that we're all chasing as business owners, that point of freedom, right? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
yeah, the feeling that I wanted so badly that I thought the money would give me, I now have, whether the money is there or not.
Yeah.
And so every day I wake up, I'm grateful that I'm not commuting to a 9 to 5 gig. I'm living a dream life, the
Yeah.
dream life that I wanted and thought that I would get if I kept having, consecutive 25K month and 50K months and then me 100K month. And then we could do all this stuff. And I'm doing everything I want to do.
Yeah.
So what's missing? Nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
it's
love
just
that.
been so beautiful. And I mean, my relationship with my husband is like the best it's ever been because I'm not stressing out and freaking out every minute about money and making him feel bad because, I'm making all the money and like he's got to step up and contribute. And it just is, it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for him in my life. I'm just so grateful for pretty much everything. So,
Yes. And funny enough, I've saw this so many times in my life when it came to dating, when it came to clients. When you don't need the thing is when you get the thing, right? And when you told me about this transformation that you felt and I saw it, it's absolutely real and anybody tuning in can see it. Remember, I said this is the version of you that creates the money.
yes, I remember you saying that. I remember there were moments when I was freaking out, and you would say, when you stop worrying, when you really let go, the money will come. And I just didn't believe you.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, I mean, I believed it because it's the law of attraction talks about that. It's a woo way, and I'm very woo, and yet I just was like, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's not easy, it's a lifetime of programming of life is this way, and then this weird Romanian dude on the other side of on the planet is like, well, there's an easier way.
Yeah. Plus, I really believed that if I was selling money, I would make money. And that
Yes.
if I switched to the more intangible things, I wouldn't make the money. So, selling done for you copywriting that gets calls booked and gets more
Yeah.
money in someone's bank account is a sure thing.
Hmm.
Whereas selling coaching isn't always a sure thing. So I had it in my head that my clients might not get results. Then I felt like a fraud. I had all those fears that
Hmm.
we have going into a business as a coach.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so that was preventing me from really embracing it also, was just that idea like you can't sell anything intangible and make money, because I had
Yeah.
tried that prior to being a copywriter and I struggled.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yes. And I remember like because we had a few sessions where you were coaching me on my marketing. And what I really, really loved about your approach was that the actual marketing was like 5 or 10% of the conversation, right? And the rest of it was soul based, right? You said something about my relationship with my father that was very on point, something that I never talked to you about, and you instantly felt it, right? And at the end, I asked you, like, I can't believe you're not doing more of this. And then you said, well, actually, my highest paying client, that's how she signed up. I brought this version of me to the table. And I said,
mhm.
I wonder why. Yeah. So it's very interesting, yeah, because I've also heard this very many, many times, and I've suffered from this as well. Like it's hard to sell an intangible. And at the end of the day, it's just a belief.
Mhm. It totally is just a belief.
Yeah. Has little to do with reality.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Jess, I also want to plug your TikTok, guys. If you are Star Trek fans, you need to check out Jessica's TikTok.
Commander Reliant, this is Enterprise. No, Kirk. The game's not over.
If you're watching this on video, you're probably going to see some samples. Do I have your permission to use some of your videos here?
You
You're gonna.
do. I just did a tombstone one, so I veered away from Star Trek.
Oh, interesting. I can't wait to check that out.
It got censored because it got the sensitive content warning because there's some violence in it.
I see. I see. Yeah. So don't kick your husband's ass so hard next time. Hopefully. I'm joking, guys. Yeah, but absolutely check her TikTok out and leave some cool comments. Let her know that you're coming from this conversation. And before we wrap this up, what would you say is the biggest difference between Jessica today and Jessica before we started working?
Peace.
Mm,
I have peace. I
yeah.
had zero peace before we started working together. And now my life is joyful and peaceful and full.
And
And I have
that's
more confidence.
and that's even better than the 50K a month.
Oh my God, it is. Really is.
Yeah. And again, this is the energy that will create more than 50K a month. Might not, there might not be a clear path to that, but it will show itself 100%.
I believe that.
Beautiful. And something else that I wanted to ask you, because when we had our first conversation, actually one of our first conversations, and we were in the process of figuring out whether we were going to work together or not, you said, I already invested $30,000 in coaching this year alone, right?
Yeah.
What made you say yes to us working together? And why did you feel it was going to be different?
Because you saw me. I felt like you really saw me, who I was at that deep soul level. And I trusted you, and you saw something in me that I couldn't yet see, and I was struggling to see.
Yeah.
And you were so confident that I was worth investing that money. And what made this different from the other coaching things I invested in was I never felt seen by those other coaches. I
Yeah.
wanted them to see me. I wanted them to sort of take me by the hand and like reflect back to me what I was doing that was working and what was in the way. And none of them really had the bandwidth to be able
Yeah.
to do that. And so also you were offering something that was deeper than just going out and chasing the money.
Mm,
I was already kind of subconsciously pursuing, I wanted peace. It's the whole
yeah.
reason I wanted to work with someone and get help. So I'm so glad that I said yes.
That makes two of us. And I am so happy and so proud of your transformation. My heart, again, is overspilling with joy. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
maybe we're going to circle back in a few months and see what else is new.
Sounds good.
Beautiful. Guys, thank you so much. Again, absolutely check out Jessica's TikTok. And if you'd like to learn more about what it would look like for us to work together and create a similar or listen, actually not a similar transformation, how to create your transformation, your version of this, there's a link below. Book a time. I'll see you soon. Thank you.